Welcome back to the High Vibe Life podcast with me, your host, Moira Casava. I am beyond excited for this conversation today. One of my favorite people in the whole world is here, Jenelle Summers. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you to say. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. We have so many things to talk about. So I want to share this first. So some of you guys, I'm sure, know Jenelle Summers. She's a major personality on Instagram and all the social outlets. But Jenelle and I know each other back from our Beachbody days. So we met each other probably 10, 11 years ago, maybe, was it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to say is I think it's so important for you guys to just know her heart. So when I first met Jenelle, of course, I was like starstruck. She was like super famous in the Beachbody world, super big on social media, and just this light in the world. And when I got to know you and your heart, you really became for me one of the only true beacons on my path in Beachbody. Somebody that I admired so much professionally that I wanted to follow in your footsteps with the business success that you had. But gosh, we had some incredible times together, in different situations where we got to talk about how we balance business with being a mom. And you just gave me such a beautiful example of how to balance that, of how to prioritize, being there when it was the most important, but also you kept pursuing the business. You showed up until the end, you never walked away from your business and just collected a paycheck like, is kind of what you hear a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And so I just want to thank you, honestly, for being we can't accomplish what we want to accomplish as mothers and creators in the world unless we have those examples. And you were that person for me, and you still are.
Wow. That means so much to me. Like it makes me want to tear up. I remember some of those conversations we had. You were talking about your kids. I remember one time we were sharing a ride, I think back to our hotel or something, and we got into this deep conversation about just balancing business and motherhood and what that kind of looks like. And that just, it means so much to me that you saw that and that was and always has been a huge priority to me in building my business and doing it at such an intense level, but always trying to find that way to make family the highest priority. And it's not easy. But yeah, I'm so appreciative that we've had those conversations and those compliments are just amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it was really what you gave me too was permission. It was like permission not to take my foot off the gas with my business, but permission, the vision to still pursue that at the highest level with moments of permission that you don't have to do it all. Like you don't have to go to every trip. You don't have to be at every event. And I remember you just having this conversation where you were like, oh yeah, no. We will not go on a trip if he has a basketball tournament. I think it was basketball. And I was like, oh, so I'm allowed to not go if I don't have, and it was just permission. And it was so big. So I want to ask you this too, because I feel like, we were talking about this beforehand. We're like, what do we want to talk about? What are the topics? What do we want to discuss today? And there are very few people out there doing midlife as well as you are, from a fitness, from a health, from a joy, from family. I mean, I'm going to just also own this too and tell you this, that you were on my fitness vision board 10 years ago.
Seriously.
Back in the day. I was like, I want those abs.
Oh, that's too
But
funny.
you still are. So there's so much to unpack around midlife, right? It's such a crazy hard time for women. My first question is, did you experience that shift? Right? Like, did you hit the wall and did things change in your body, or were you just like, no, I was kind of always doing the right things and just kept them going? Tell me about that.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I feel like so many women need to hear these things. I know I did when I was going through it all. I would say I started having perimenopausal symptoms probably around the time I was 46-ish. I'd say that's when I actually acknowledged that that's what this was. It may have
Right.
started earlier, I have no idea. But I did kind of hit some walls, and I still, let me just say, with all this, we're all still trying to figure it out. Like it's a
Yeah.
never, and like we're always evolving and our bodies are always changing. If you talked to me 6 months ago or a year ago, my answers might be different because, with our hormones and going through perimenopause and menopause, it's just kind of all over the board. But yeah, around 46, I was like, wow. And for me, it wasn't so much physical as it was mental.
Mm-hmm.
I started just not feeling like myself. And that
Yeah.
I've always been a very optimistic person, a very
Mm-hmm.
positive person, a very high energy person, a very like, we can do anything we want to do. We just have to, put our minds to it, and just that type of high energy, high vibe person. And all of a sudden I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was like relating to these other people, because you and I, we've coached women for years and years through fitness and health and wellness, years and years. Even both of us go back before
Yeah.
body in fitness and in wellness. And we've all heard, women say, "Oh, I have low energy," or "I'm not very motivated," or "I just, I feel down," or "I don't feel good about myself." And it's like, part of me was like, gosh, I kind of don't relate to that because I've always like been super, just like, we've got this.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, I felt that. I was like, wow, where's my energy? Where's my motivation? Where's my
Yeah.
confidence? Why am I suddenly doubting myself? Why do I feel like a shell of myself? And I would
Mm-hmm.
say that it kind of went up and down in that between like 46 and 50. And I tried different supplements. I tried different, switching up my routine, and some things helped and some things didn't. I tried different nutrition. It definitely helped me to go to a lower glycemic
Yeah.
nutrition plan, and doing just a little bit of intermittent fasting, just enough, 12, 13 hours. So not the typical 16-hour window. But for me, what worked was, just giving my gut a little bit of a break and getting a little bit more into gut health. So some things helped. And I will say this, that, when I hit 50, I was finally like, I'm going to try HRT,
Yeah. Yep.
hormone replacement therapy. And so I did at that time. And for me, and I'm just speaking from experience, for me, it made a significant difference in the way I
Yeah.
felt.
Yeah.
And so even though my hitting a wall in those years wasn't necessarily super physical, it was affecting me a little bit physically, of course,
Right.
because I would go to work out and I'd be like 5 minutes in, normally 5 minutes in, I'm like, okay, I'm good to go. 5 minutes in, I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna work out. Like I had no energy. I was just like, no, I'm not gonna. I'll do
Yeah.
anything right now, but work out. Like that just wasn't me. So at
Right.
50, I went on HRT, and that really helped how I felt and my energy. And it's not been perfect since then, of course not, but that did make a significant difference for me.
Yeah. I love that. And same exact thing. I'm 49 now. Well, I'll be 49 this month, but
Wow.
46 was it for me, right?
Yeah.
Like I kind of, same situation, always motivated, always kind of like, I'm going to tackle it. I got this. And almost thought that it was like over dramatized, the world on social media of like perimenopause
Yes.
and this downwards, and then it hit me and I was like, oh dear God, like
This is
this
the
is
thing.
real. This
Right.
is real. Can I ask you, and I want to dig into so many parts of this, but obviously HRT being one of the biggest shifts for you, and I did the same, and it's always changing and shifting. People are
Yeah.
always like, well, what do you do? I'm like, well, it's changing all the time because
All the
I'm
time.
changing all the time. But when it comes to, and I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way, it's different for every single person. There's shots, there's pellets, there's, little droplets that you give yourself. Can I ask you what you're doing? Like what kind?
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm doing estrogen via an injection, and I don't
Okay.
love that because I don't love doing the injection, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think that's working. Now we just recently switched to this, and so when we switched
Yep.
to it, I had to start on like the lowest dose, and it's taking some effect, but it's not enough. So just this week, I've started to twice a week. So we'll see how that does. But initially, back when I was 50 and I got on it, I was on the patch, and that worked
Yep.
great for me. And then all of a sudden, well, I'd say like a year or two later, it wasn't working for me. I just like, I don't know if it
Mm.
was, I don't know if there's certain patches, and this could be a whole other conversation. And for any women
Right.
that are listening and they're like, well, how do I get more on this conversation? On Facebook, there are groups regarding hormone replacement therapy or just women's health in general, where you will hear from hundreds, if not thousands, of women of what's working, what's not working, and all the things, and what patches are working and aren't working. But I think there was maybe certain brands that did not work for me
Mm.
or something, and then there became a shortage of patches. So all of that. So then I switched to cream for estrogen, and that I was not absorbing at all. So I hit like rock bottom, and I was like,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's when I could really feel like, wow, this HRT for me, and I keep saying for me because I don't think it's for
Right.
everyone, made a significant difference. Because when I hit that rock bottom, even before I went and had my labs drawn, I knew it. I was like, I'm starting to feel like aches and pains again. I was starting to feel down again. Like all the
Mm.
symptoms started coming back, and I was like, I know I'm not absorbing this cream. And sure enough, my
Yeah.
lab showed it. So now, like I said, I'm doing the injections. So estradiol injections. And then I do progesterone at night, and that is the bioidentical progesterone. And then I do testosterone too, and I do that in a compounded cream.
Yeah. Okay. I love this conversation because it's
Yeah.
so interesting. I went on all three when I first got my labs drawn at 46, and because like there wasn't like a hormone in my body. Like she's like, you're completely bottomed out of all three of these. And I was like,
Oh
oh,
no.
well, maybe that's why I feel the way I feel.
Yeah.
But what was interesting, I do a progesterone pill at night, like
Mhm.
gel cap.
Okay.
And then the other two for me are drops, like in
Oh,
my mouth, under my tongue kind of thing, which is, I always find it so fascinating how people, are getting them in their bodies. But I think it's so important, just what we're talking about is if you're doing this, hopefully, obviously, you're doing this with a doctor, but that you're getting your labs drawn at least every 6 months, right?
yeah.
Because I have gone on hormone replacement and then they end up a little too high. And so we, go way down on the dosage, or I go off of them completely for a while until the symptoms start to crop back up and then I go back on it. So it's this roller coaster kind of seesaw of constant vigilance because our bodies are always shifting and changing. And
Yes.
I would love to dig into a little bit more like, is that what it looks like for you? Are you going every 6 months to kind of reevaluate?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that too, because I think it's so important. I actually am going once every 3 months to get labs
I
drawn.
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every 3 months. And I'll be honest, now that like we're starting a new injection, I kind of like I want to do it more because I really want to
Yeah.
see, is this working? Because I don't have time to be like drop so low in estrogen because it doesn't feel good. So I go every 3 months, and I know that's not necessarily possible for everyone, but I do think that's really helpful because even over 3 month
Mhm.
periods, things shift. And it's not just the estrogen, the testosterone, the progesterone. I get an advanced panel. And so one thing for me is thyroid. I mean, that's one thing
Yes.
that my thyroid is struggling. It's been struggling. And so I keep trying to do things naturally to support my thyroid. And I keep failing, to be completely honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep failing. And so they keep saying, well, you probably need to go on like a minor dose of a thyroid medication. And
Mm.
I probably will. But all these things are intertwined. And so you
Yes.
might like, okay, I need to start taking this supplement, or I need to start taking this hormone replacement therapy or whatever. And it's like you start realizing how intertwined all of these things
Hmm.
are, and you can't just address necessarily one thing.
Right.
So, I know that there's, a lot of people ask me who I go through, and I do go through a virtual health provider called Joy, Joi,
Okay.
because I didn't have anyone in my area at the time,
Right.
there was no one, there might be now, but at the time, there was no one in my area that really knew what they were talking about when it comes to all of this. And my OB-GYN was just not about it at all. So
Yeah.
I needed to find someone virtually. And so I did buy a package, and it's a quarterly package. So
Oh, I
it's
love that. Yeah.
yeah, so it's not cheap. I will say that. So, I think some insurances it does cover, but I know that you can also go to like Ulta, like the beauty Ulta
Yeah.
Labs, Ulta Labs Tests, ultalabtests.com, I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they can, order labs for you, and then, you can go to your doctor and just come to your doctor prepared with questions,
Right. Yes.
And before I had a virtual health clinician, I did my research
Hmm.
and I came to my doctor with, what I thought I needed. And,
Yeah.
and I think sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to be our biggest advocates. We have to.
Yes.
We're not going to know all the answers, but ask around, get in these groups, know the questions to ask AI if you want to use AI. I use
Yeah.
or chat GPT to ask questions and like, well, if this number is this and that, like, how are they correlated? And, just be prepared.
Yes, I can't emphasize that enough and reiterate that enough. It's
Yeah.
like do the preparation and really, something as simple as chat is going to take you a long way because it can act like that, I don't even want to say doctor in quotes,
Right,
but
right.
that person that you can have a conversation with back and forth to kind of lead you to some clarity so
Yes.
that when you walk into the doctor's office, you are way far down the path already versus starting at square one. Just
Right.
saying, you don't want to walk in and just say, well, I feel like crap. I lost my motivation. It's like you
Right.
want to have some understanding as to what could possibly be going on because it's
Right.
just gonna, like you said, we don't have time, right? We want to get onto these solutions as quickly as possible.
Right.
You touched on nutrition.
Mhm.
What did that look like you mentioned lower glycemic, and for
Mhm.
some people like might even be like what does that mean?
Right.
What kind of a shift did you make? Obviously you've always eaten clean, you've always eaten healthy, you also eat really simply. Can I
Yeah.
say praise the Lord, that was also like permission granted when I first met you. I was like, oh, she's not in the kitchen all day. Like you are the queen of simple solutions when it comes to nutrition. So what does that look like for you in midlife?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a good cook. I'm not good in the kitchen. I'm getting much better now. But so all of my foods that I make are just super, super simple. But when I hit that time in my life where I just started not feeling like myself and my cravings were increasing, and
Mhm.
I realized that, different people have different sensitivity to different foods. So
Mhm.
your husband can eat a cookie and maybe not have a sugar crash, whereas I might eat that same cookie and have a sugar crash. Like it's because of our
Yeah.
microbiome and all this stuff. We're all so unique. And so I realized that my sugar levels were just like
Mhm.
spiking and crashing, and that's what was causing me to feel like I needed to kind of eat all day. And that's always kind of been, I'm a big eater. I have a big appetite. I love to graze, and I it's just been my thing. I really was struggling with snacking and cravings because of these sugar spikes. So I realized I really needed
Mhm.
to look at foods that were low glycemic. So in other words, berries, one of the
Mhm.
low glycemic fruits. I needed to switch to berries versus the other fruits that I was eating. Not that those fruits don't have amazing properties and nutrition, but I just was at a point where I really needed to
Mhm.
hone in on the low glycemic and the
Mhm.
added sugars. Of course, when you have a lot of added sugars and foods that you don't even suspect, that's causing you to have those sugar spikes. You know,
Yeah.
obviously there's all this talk about GLP-1s, and one of the things that people experience on that is less food noise. Well, if you start eating low glycemic, you will have hopefully less food noise because you're not having those spikes in your blood sugar. So it's surprising because there are actually some foods that you might think that are that actually are high sugar, like dates, that actually help with your blood sugar level, help regulate your blood sugar.
Yes.
So really diving into that and focusing more on protein. So back when I was 46, starting to focus more on high protein, more on foods with fiber to have more
Mm,
satiety when I was eating. So those types of things really helped me a lot because prior to that, it was kind of like, well, in my 30s and earlier 40s, it was like as long as I'm kind of within my, because I kind of know my caloric range to maintain my
yeah.
fitness, and I kind of know my macros and those kinds of things, and as long as all that was fine, I was fine. Well, once you hit this stage where your hormones are all over the place, you have to dial in a little bit just to even be able to maintain.
Right, right. Absolutely. It's so good. And I think, even the added sugars, I can remember we've all been on so many, programs when it comes to
Right.
nutrition. But there was a program that we probably both did back in the day, but there was one simple guideline that was to look at your nutrition labels and keep it below 10 added grams of sugar.
Yes.
And I know my macros. I like kind of like you. Like
Yeah.
I know where to live.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was like, oh, but I haven't really ever looked specifically at this one thing. And so I started specifically looking at just added sugar, and
Hmm.
I was blown away. I was
No.
blown away by, number one, how much added sugar was sneaking into my diet every single day, completely unbeknownst to me. But
Yep.
number two, when I changed that, the difference I immediately felt was, it was shocking, because instead of 30 grams of added sugar that I didn't realize I was getting every single day because I'm eating healthy foods,
Right.
now I'm getting below 10. And just like you said, all of a sudden my blood sugar was much more controlled. The cravings went down, but how I physically felt in my body
Hmm.
immediately shifted.
Yes, yes.
So
And I
that's a
remember
game changer.
game changer. And that's always been the case for me. Anytime I've reduced sugar, it helps significantly. I
Yeah.
drop the bloating, you sometimes drop some fat pounds, actual fat, and just feel so much better. And it really is. I remember back when I was in my early 20s and I needed to lose some weight. And that was the one thing I did was I cut sugar, my added
Hmm.
sugars and sugar in general. And so I didn't count calories. I just did it that way. It was the one time where I
Hmm.
did it that way. And it was the first time where I was like, wow. So when people
Yeah.
say, gosh, tracking calories and tracking macros is the only way to, lose fat. Well, cutting sugars is a really effective way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I eyeball my macros, but I don't
Mhm.
count
Yeah.
calories. I don't measure out macros. I don't do
Yeah.
any of that. And
Right.
I personally don't think we're supposed to live that way,
I
right?
know.
Like, I
Me
don't think
too.
food is supposed to be that complicated.
I agree.
And talking about that in that general direction, what does a day for, like, your meals look like? Can I kind of, is there, because I know a lot of times we eat the same things over and over again that work for us. So what does
Yeah.
that look like for you, kind of breakfast, lunch, dinner?
Yeah. Well, I'm not perfect by any means, and I never try to be. I think that's really important. That's one thing that's helped me be consistent most all of my life is that I don't try to be perfect and I don't do anything extreme. Just to
Yes.
back up a little bit, just so you kind of know where this comes from. When I was 14 years old, I was trying to become a professional ballerina, and I actually made it into the company when I was 16. But during that time frame, I was desperate to
Mm,
lose the weight because I was told at 14 that I was too thick, too muscular. And so I immediately dropped 20 pounds because I felt like I had to in order for the company. And I didn't know how to do it at all at that age. So I just didn't eat. And it was
yeah.
horrible. But, anyways, at 16, 16 or 17, I read a book called Fit or Fat. And
Hmm.
that book changed my life. And that
Yeah.
is probably completely outdated now. But what I learned in that book was that by restricting the way I was and dancing all these hours, I was training my body to store fat. I was training my
Yeah.
body to use muscle as fuel. I was training my body to, in the future, gain weight very easily because I was
Yes.
training my body to try to live on almost nothing. And I was like, so I was killing my metabolism. So when I read that, it was like, I will never again go to these extremes. The last thing I want to do
Oh,
is to train my body to be so ineffective at building muscle, to be so effective at storing fat. Like, why would I want to train my body to do that? So I don't restrict. So even when I get off
yeah.
track, I just get back on track. I don't do any
Yeah.
extreme anything. And I never
I
recommend
love
that.
that you just shared that. And I love that you also read that book at such a young age.
Yes, yes.
But, raising a teenage daughter right now, it is what I tell her all the time. I always say to her, the second you start restricting, you are literally heading down a horrible path, whether that's, eating disorders or down that path, everything. You just throw all of your human instincts so out of whack that
Yes.
you won't have control. You won't have, you just can't restrict. So even talking to women in midlife, we're so desperate for change.
Yeah.
It's like the first thing we do is, oh, I'm cutting out this food group, or I'm not doing this, or we're going to these extremes. And I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
It is the worst thing that we can do for ourselves, is to go to those extremes. So I
And
love that. What I heard you saying is, I was like, this is so funny because I know exactly what you're saying. But what you said was, the way that I stay consistent is by not making myself be consistent all the time.
right. 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 Just allowing myself to live life. And, if I
Yeah.
overeat, my husband and I love pizza. And so,
Yeah.
I'll eat way too much, of course. I'm like, well, my muscles needed it. It's a lot of positive self-talk. And yeah, I may not
Yes.
be the leanest person. I may not have six-pack abs or whatever, but I'm able to maintain a healthy weight, a healthy mindset, muscle, all those things that are important to me, and that help me feel confident. And there's nothing that's going to make you feel better, or make you more attractive to your significant other than just confidence.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, so
Absolutely.
going back, I just, I want, young girls and women, or it applies to males too, to
Yeah.
just not be, in that mode of, oh, I've overeaten, so now I need to restrict, and it does not go well. So what I eat now. So basically now, first of all, I have to admit, in the morning, I have a protein bar, and I've done this
Yeah.
for like 30 years. I can't get out of the habit. After I've had my coffee, I have to have a protein. It's just a thing with me. And I usually
Can
have
I ask you
it.
what brand,
Oh
what
gosh,
type you like?
over the years it's changed right now, and
Yeah.
I'm not proud of this at all, but it is a David bar. And I'm
Yeah.
not proud of
Yeah.
that. But I
I
get,
get it.
you know what?
I
I
do
got
a
hooked on the
perfect
David
bar
bar.
every single day, and I know I shouldn't be doing it, but I
Which
love
kind?
it. And the perfect
Oh
bars.
yeah. I love those.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
good. Those are so
They're
good.
so good.
I got hooked on the David bar back when their ingredients were much better, and then they changed their ingredients, and I'm like, you can't do this to me, because then I'm already hooked,
Uh,
and so I'll probably get off that hook soon, hopefully, and go to a better one. But so yeah, and then for breakfast, I usually have eggs. I love my eggs.
same.
Love my eggs. Mostly egg
Same.
whites, but one or two full eggs with that. I have a big old plate, and I do avocado toast with everything but the bagel seasoning. I love that. I love my sourdough. I usually have berries. So I usually have raspberries or blueberries. Or if I don't have that, because I always buy frozen, because the fresh ones always go bad. So if I did
Yep.
not take them out to thaw earlier, then I'll put those berries in my yogurt or smoothie bowl, which is what I have for lunch. So lunch is usually a big, smoothie bowl or yogurt bowl, with all the things in it that I need. So that's the other thing I want to say, just while I'm thinking of it. You'll hear a lot of people in fitness and nutrition, and y'all know I'm not a nutritionist, but I've got a lot of experience with analyzing it and helping
Yes.
women with it. But you'll hear a lot in the fitness industry say, I eat the same exact things every single day. And I just want to add one little addition to that I think is important, which is, yes, have your staples and eating the same things every day that you love, that you're excited to eat, but add variation within those meals, because that's
Hmm.
going to help your gut health. So, like,
Right.
I might
Right.
have, in my bowl, one day I might have raspberries, but the next day I'm going to have blueberries, but the next day I'm going to have kiwi. Like, mix up, because for gut health, you need that variety. So,
Yes.
a lot of times my breakfast a lot of times looks the same, but like I might add some sauerkraut on my eggs. And then dinner, I might, I've got my protein, I got my vegetables, but that's going to vary, what that,
Yep.
looks like each night. So those are basically my three meals. And then I do snack. I usually have an apple almost every single day. Sometimes I'll have like a red pepper cut up with cottage cheese in it and everything, but the bagel on it for a snack.
Yeah.
Always, every day I have a couple of Brazil nuts for selenium. So everything I do
Hmm.
as far as eating, I always make sure when people are asking me questions on Instagram, I let them know like, they're asking me what I eat. What I'm eating is obviously it suits me, but it's not just for an aesthetic, it's for health, gut health, and brain health. Like, blueberries
Yes.
are so good for your brain health. Like some of the things I'm eating is like, okay, I'm not eating this like to have like some certain aesthetic. I'm eating this because I care about my gut health. I need to care about my gut health. I
Right.
need to care about my brain health. So I'm looking at, a lot of those things as well when I'm choosing what to eat.
I love that. I love that so much. I mean, gosh, we're eating very similarly, first of all. So I love that because,
Yeah.
like I said, you're always on my vision board.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What about supplementation? I love how
Mhm.
simple you keep nutrition, and I can't emphasize enough too mixing it up, right?
Yeah.
One of the things actually I want to touch on really quick and just follow up with is you said to eat for enjoyment. I think
Yeah.
anytime that we're subscribing or giving ourselves over to a nutrition plan that somebody's telling us what to eat,
Right.
and we're kind of force feeding ourselves because we want to get a result,
Right.
it's never going to work. Like,
Right.
even when we're eating clean, I get so excited about my breakfast. I get
Me
so
too.
excited about my lunch. Like, that's how you should feel if it's going
Right.
to be anything that's sustainable long term,
Oh,
right?
I 1000% agree. I think, while I don't think that we should, or at least for me, I know it works for some people to track macros and calories and everything every day and weigh everything and blah, blah, blah. It works for some people. For me, what works is to do that. If I'm off track, I will do it to see where I'm landing. So if I've been
Yes.
feeling really off track, and I'm like, wow, have I been some habits been creeping up on me that I haven't realized? Let
Hmm.
me just put all of this into an app and see where it's landing me. And I
Yep.
did that not too long ago, and I was like, wow, I am consuming so much fat. I love my
Mm,
avocados. I love
yes.
like I was at avocado oil when I'm cooking and olive oil and my salad and it was like whoa, like I need to chill out on the fats.
Yep.
So I think it is helpful to put into an app occasionally everything that you eat in a day and then just go, okay, you know what, I'm eating this and that's not really worth it. I don't love that or whatever.
Right.
And kind of pare it down from there and go like, okay, I don't want to give up let's say you have I don't know, a certain cookie every day. I don't want to give that up. So don't, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like fit that in
Yes.
there. Or your favorite coffee drink that you love to get every day, fit that in there. What does it look like?
Hmm.
Or maybe it's not worth it. Maybe it's worth it to modify that drink. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
important to do.
love that so much, and I couldn't agree with you more. And again, we're
Yeah.
not saying, I always say whatever works for you in all capacities.
Right.
But gosh, I couldn't agree with you more. Like if all of a sudden, I've gained 3 or 4 pounds and I'm like, why am I gaining weight? And again, in midlife, it could be anything, but
Absolutely.
I will go to my nutrition first. I will kind of look at what I'm eating, look at the macros, see where I need to adjust,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely not counting that every day. I don't want to live
Yes.
that way personally.
Right, right.
Um, I don't know if I asked you this next question out loud or just in my brain. Supplementation.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
Sorry, you did.
uh, all the supplements, right? I mean, sometimes I am such a like I'm so easily convinced, on social media where all of a sudden ads they
Yeah.
start targeting you and you think this is going to change my whole life.
Right, right.
I've stripped it down to some basic bare minimum, but can I ask you what you take extra for your supplements?
Yeah, so I'm always doing, almost always, actually, I should say, I just recently got back on it, was vitamin D3, K2.
Yes.
Um, so
I
I
just ordered mine
actually,
last night.
yeah, I actually had been supplementing with that for a long time, and I'm the only person I know that my vitamin D was too high on my labs. Like
Ah,
6 months ago, they were like, slow down. I was like, wait a second, everyone's so low on vitamin D. How am I like too high? And they're like, just slow down on that supplementation. So I did.
yeah,
And now with my last lab draw, they're like, okay, you can bring it back up again. So that's usually always a staple for me, but that's why it's so good to test, because you think, oh,
right.
everyone's low on vitamin, D3 or vitamin D, but not necessarily.
Right.
So I also always take turmeric.
Hmm.
I always take my magnesium glycinate
Hmm.
in the evening. I take zinc, a low
Yep.
dose of zinc.
And going back to your testing, my zinc was like non-existent the
Yeah,
last time randomly. And so it's like that could be a major factor in how you're feeling. And it's as simple as a basic supplement that you could get anywhere
right,
that can change everything. So keep going
right,
though.
right. Yeah, so let's see, in the morning, turmeric and zinc. And I take one through my virtual wellness that is supportive of my thyroid. So that's got like
Hmm.
ashwagandha in it and some other things. And then I take omega 3. I take a new one that starts with an A that's supposed to be for eye health because I need that. And now I can't think of what it's called. And then, like I said, in the evening, I do my, oh, and then that's also when I take my vitamin D3 K2. And then in the evening, I do my magnesium glycinate.
Yeah.
Well, and
Which
that's
helps
one
you
thing.
sleep,
Like,
right?
I hear women like taking some of these supplements that are like a proprietary blend of like all these things. They're like, "Well, I'm getting it all in this one supplement." I'm like, "Yeah, but are you getting the effective dose of the one you need? Like, first of all,
Right.
do you need it? Your lab results will tell you that. And secondly, you could ask AI, like, what is the effective dose? And then does
Hmm.
your supplement have that? Because like I was
Right.
seeing proprietary blends of certain things and I was like, well, no wonder I'm not seeing any,
Yeah.
effects. The dosage is not enough for me.
Yeah, that's so, so, so important because it's interesting with my zinc. My doctor's like, you need just a little bit, but just to bring it up to where it
Yes.
needs to be, but it's going to make a huge difference in how you feel.
Yeah.
And when I came home, I looked at our zinc that's in our cabinet and it was like 10 times what I
Yes.
needed.
Yep.
But if we're not looking at the dosage, we're
Yeah.
just popping things. You gotta know how much you
Yeah.
need to be taking.
Yeah.
I love that. Does the magnesium help you sleep at night?
Oh, I sleep like such a baby. Between my magnesium and my progesterone, I sleep like a
Yeah.
baby. Yeah.
And I take both of those things too. And I
Yes.
think the days that I forget to take one or miss one, or maybe I'm out of my prescription of progesterone,
Yeah.
it is night and day for me.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
it is not a
absolutely.
good quality sleep
Yes.
at all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the
That's,
big symptoms I had when I was 46 is I was not sleeping through the night. And that was affecting me throughout my entire day because you're more snacky and cravey when you don't get enough sleep. Your mood is different. I was
yes.
waking up every single night in the middle of the night around 3 a.m., not being able to get back to sleep. Sometimes a little bit of a hot flash going on at the same time. And so the progesterone for me made a significant difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so huge. Every once in a while, I will take a red eye home or come back from an event, and it is so glaringly obvious when I'm exhausted, like absolutely exhausted from one night of like missed sleep
Yeah,
that I will want to all of a sudden be eating like candy by the pound.
absolutely.
And I'm like, if you think about getting not great quality sleep every night of your life and that sugar sneaking in here or there,
Yeah,
it's like that adds up, right? It adds
absolutely.
up to an extra 10 pounds, 15 pounds. And so
Yeah.
quality sleep in midlife is hard to come by, but so important to prioritize.
So important. I can't speak to it enough. I mean, I think it does so much in terms of also your muscle recovery. That was the other thing I was noticing in
Yes.
my late 40s is I was lifting just as intensely and heavy as I ever was, but was feeling so soft. I was like, what is
Yes.
happening? My body wasn't recovering from my workouts well, and that had a lot to do with sleep and also the testosterone probably that had tanked at that
Yeah.
time. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it makes a massive difference.
So good, so good. Okay, let's pivot to how did your workout shift in midlife? I mean,
Mm,
you've always obviously you've loved working out, you're a fitness person, but
yeah,
what shifts did you make that really showed up and made a difference in your body?
that's a tough one. I'm trying to think if I really. changed much. I don't think I really changed much. I mean, definitely years ago, I was teaching fitness classes, and I was teaching, cardio 3 times a week, and I was teaching, lifting classes twice a week, and I was teaching, um, you know, other formats of classes that I would teach. Like I did a boot camp class, I guess that was cardio, more like a HIIT class. So
Yeah.
I did, even when I was working with Beachbody, I was teaching classes for a while there. So things kind of shifted once I got out of teaching, because then I could just focus on
Right.
my own fitness. And so, of course, with Beachbody, in between programs, I would do my own lifting workouts and my own cardio workouts, which was anything from, I love interval training. When it comes to cardio, give me an interval workout at any, I
Yeah.
love intervals. I can do anything for 30 seconds or a minute.
Yes, I totally
Um,
agree.
yeah. So I don't think it changed. My workouts changed significantly through that phase. I'm always kind of changing, tweaking what I'm doing. I'm always kind of tweaking, but I'm
Yeah.
always pretty solid in lifting. Like that's pretty much
Hmm.
always something I'm
Yeah.
doing. And I'm always pretty solid in just, being active throughout the day. I'm not one to just
Yeah.
like, sit down and watch a TV show for hours. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just not my energy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I would say that I haven't significantly changed that. Maybe if anything, I do a little less cardio than I ever did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, I do more walking now versus just cardio. So for cardio now, I do 2 to 3 times a week. I do a hit or sit workout. I think we've talked about this, where I'll do like sit being sprint interval training. And so I'll do
Hmm.
like 30 seconds on and a minute and a
Yep.
half of recovery. And I'll do 10 to 12 minutes of a sit workout or a hit
Yep.
workout, however you want to label that. So I'll do that 2 or 3 times a week. And sometimes it's
Yeah.
actual, running on the treadmill or even outside, and I'll do like a hill workout or whatever. But other times it's just, it could be on a stationary bike or on our
Yeah.
elliptical or something other than impact on my body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this conversation for so many reasons. First of all, I think so many of us, myself included, at times feels like when they hit this wall of perimenopause and midlife, it is a full-time job to
Yeah.
change nutrition and supplements and workouts and sleep, and like we're changing so many things. And I love that you just said my workouts didn't really change, because sometimes I think we are overcomplicating it, right? When we can get the inside working right, the outside's it's gonna work. And
Absolutely.
the other thing that I love that you said is you're still doing these sprint, and anyone can elevate their heart rate, because I do the exact same thing as you, Janelle.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
90 seconds of recovery is like,
Amazing.
I mean, it's amazing.
Right.
And it's so easy to do 30 seconds again.
Yeah.
Like, it's so doable. And I know when I first hit this wall and I was like trying to change everything all at once,
Yeah.
I really wasn't doing any interval training. And I just kept thinking, like, intuitively, I was like, this cannot be healthy for our hearts. Like,
Right.
we still need
We still need
to, yeah, we still need that. We still need to challenge ourselves for heart health.
Yeah.
But I think most midlife, that switch in fitness is they're not doing anything high intensity for
No.
their heart. They're just only taking long walks, which
Yes.
long walks are great. And I do a lot of that, right?
Yeah, and I do too. Matt and I love to walk. We walk every single day. We're both retired, so we have the time to do that. But
Yeah.
I think that there's been so much on social media about, walk, lift heavy, and those are both great, and we both do those things. But I think that there's been too much emphasis on that versus just move and do what you love to do.
Yeah.
Like we still need different types of movement. I've never been one to say like you can only lift heavy. No, you can lift light
Right.
too, and
Yeah.
challenge the muscle. You can do that too. And we can't do cardio anymore. No, you can still do cardio. The key is to just
Right.
not overdo things.
Yes.
And maybe some women are, but some women who aren't overdoing it are hearing, "Don't do it anymore," and that's just not
Right. Yeah.
that message is not meant for them. They weren't overdoing it in the first place.
Right.
So I
Right.
think it's just so important, for your listeners to be like, okay, I need to really boil it down to me. I'm unique. Like, what am I
Yes.
doing? What do I need? And stop thinking that it has to be so, there's so many rules, because there does not need to be all these rules. We need all kinds of
Yes.
movement. We need some impact. We need some non impact. We need some lists, low intensity, steady state cardio. We need some high intensity interval training. We need some flexibility. We need some mobility. We need heavy weights.
Yep.
We need light weights. We need a mix of all the things. But the most important thing is that you're doing what you love and you feel good doing it.
Oh, so good, so good, so good. I love that message so much. We really have hit it all. Like we've talked nutrition, fitness, mindset, HRT, all the things. Here's the magic question I want to wrap with. And I know I didn't tell you about this in advance, but I'm like, gosh, Jenelle, give me your top products, right? We all have magical products
Yeah.
that I know I have magical products that I feel like when I found this one product, it like completely changed the game for me in midlife. And I'm sure I know you share a lot of this on your
Yeah,
social.
I do. I
So
do.
if by some crazy reason you're not following Jenelle on social, we will link your Instagram handle in the show notes so everyone can go follow you, because I love following you on social media. I mean,
Oh,
you
thank
share so
you.
much gold. But what about some products? Do any come to mind that are just awesome?
Now, when you say products referring to what? Like
I'm
fitness,
thinking
nutrition?
probably, yeah, I'm probably thinking in the world of skin and body
Oh, okay.
or hair or anything. But honestly, if there's anything that comes to mind that you're like,
Okay.
I couldn't live without this, what
Okay.
can we share a couple of your
Yeah.
must-haves with us?
Okay. Well, okay. I will. I'll give you some of my top products that I love. Element T. Element is how you're really supposed to say it. I love that
Yeah.
electrolyte. But it's not the cleanest out there. I just happen to love the taste of it.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
helps me drink water. I've always
Yeah.
struggled with drinking water my whole life, and it helps me. The other one is sunless tanner. Like, I just feel
Yes.
like I'm not the same person if I don't have sunless tanner on. And so I use one by Beauty by Earth, because it's, um, you know, it's non-toxic. It's got
Yep.
all natural ingredients. So I love Beauty by Earth, and the ultra dark, I think, is what it is. Uh,
Is it a foam or a spray?
it's a
I love a
foam. It's
self
a
tanner. I
mousse. I
mean,
think they consider it a mousse, and
yeah.
I put it on. I'd say maybe twice a week.
Yeah.
I just love that. And what other products? Gosh.
Well, I will back you up while you're thinking about that. That
Yeah.
I don't think there's one thing I can do in my life that changes everything more quickly than sunless tanner. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I
Yeah.
mean, even a couple weeks ago, it was like a Saturday, and I felt like frumpy and puffy and like all this stuff. And then I just decided to tan that night, and I woke up the next day, and I was like, and now I feel like a supermodel.
Right. It's
It's
just,
crazy.
oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
so good.
I do share products all the time on my
Yeah.
stories, and that's, so throughout the day as I'm using something, if I'm like, oh, I just love this, then I share it. I don't do posts on my feed really anymore since I
Yeah.
retired, but I do share quite a bit in my stories, because I just like that these are people that follow me and know me, and I can trust them, and we have good conversations back and forth, and I can answer their questions, which I love to do. So if anyone has questions, DM me. I get to all my messages, and I love talking about all of this stuff. So I'm constantly sharing products that I love.
I love that so much. And I mean, I really do want people to know that. Like, you are retired. You are doing this out of the goodness of your heart. You are doing this to share and educate people and help people connect with products that you love. You're not on there trying to build $1 million business or do all these things. It is truly just a joy for you to show up on social. And that's really hard to find these
Oh,
days.
thank you.
So it's so refreshing, and I follow you all the time and look at all the things and opt into all the things because I
Thank you.
mean, it's just so authentic. So I can't thank you enough for just sharing so authentically. So on that note, what's your handle? Where can people find you? And is Instagram the best place for people to go?
Yeah, I would say Instagram at Jenelle Summers, and a lot of people spell Jenelle J A. I spell it J. I shouldn't say I. My mom spelled it, and Dad spelled it Jenelle. So a little bit different spelling, but yeah, mainly Instagram. I mean, I'm on Facebook as well, but mainly
Yeah.
Instagram, and I'm on TikTok, but I don't really do much there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, is there anything else that you have in your mind or on your heart that you want to share today that maybe we haven't covered?
Yeah, I think I just really want your listeners to know that, social media is really loud right now, and it always has been, but especially in the perimenopause, menopause scope, which is good that there's so much attention now being put on this, time in our lives, but there's a lot of information out there, especially if you're someone that's really easily influenced, where you could be spending a lot of stress and time and money spinning your wheels, when in fact your situation is unique. There are so many times where I'm looking on my feed and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I hope that this person or that person doesn't hear that message because it does not apply to them. It does not apply to them. Some women have Hashimoto's, or they have PCOS, or they have endometriosis, or they have a cancer diagnosis or whatever. There's so many different things happening, and we're all so incredibly unique, and we just really need to trust our own instincts, trust what we feel is right for ourselves. And instead of prioritizing, having a certain aesthetic, prioritize your happiness and well-being and your confidence, because nothing's going to make you glow more than prioritizing that.
Oh, so stinking good. Like
Oh,
such a way to just end. And I couldn't agree more. And yes, I mean, like we said, we talked about so many things, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. It is so individual. And I think the most important thing is go get your blood work done. That's like, do that before you go down any rabbit holes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Jenelle, for being here. I appreciate you. I love you. I adore you. And gosh, what an incredible episode.
Thank you so much, Moira. This was so much fun. I loved it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. And you guys follow Jenelle on Instagram if you aren't already. If you aren't, you're crazy. We'll link everything in the show notes, and, share this episode with your friends, share it to your socials. I'm sure that they would love to hear it as well. We will see you on next week's episode of the High Vibe Life podcast.